Have you ever looked at a company, or maybe even your own work, and wondered what really separates the ones that are just, good from the ones that become truly great? Not just for a year or two, but for the long haul. Well, that's the exact question author Jim Collins and his team wanted to answer. So let's dive into their blueprint for making that leap. And this wasn't just a casual look, believe me. The team sifted through almost 1,500 companies over a 40-year period, and you know how many they found that made a sustained massive jump to greatness? Just 11. These were companies that beat the stock market by at least 3 times over 15 years. This wasn't about luck. Turns out it was about a specific set of principles.
And that really brings us to the core problem, doesn't it? I mean, think about it in your own life or your own job. It's actually pretty easy to be good. It's comfortable. So why is it so incredibly rare for anyone or any company to make that jump and become truly great?
What's so powerful is how Collins frames this. He says it's not some complex business mystery. It's a human problem. We get comfortable with good enough. That comfort, that feeling of, hey, things are okay. That's the very thing that stops us from reaching for something more.
So, okay, how do you actually break out of that good enough trap? Well, the research found it all starts in a place you might not expect. Not with a killer strategy, not with groundbreaking technology, but with people. The right kind of people, led by a very specific and unusual type of leader. Right at the heart of every single one of those good to great companies was what Collins calls a level 5 leader. And listen, this is not your typical charismatic celebrity CEO. These leaders are this strange, powerful mix. On one hand, they are incredibly humble, almost shy. But on the other hand, they are fanatically driven, with this fierce, unwavering resolve to get results.
And you can see here just how that fits in. You can be a capable individual, then a good team member, a competent manager, an effective leader. But that final leap, that jump to level 5 that builds enduring greatness, that requires that bizarre combination of personal humility and intense professional will.
And this metaphor perfectly explains how they operate. When things are going great, they look out the window to give credit to the team, to other factors, even to good luck. But when things go south, they look straight in the mirror. They say, this is on me, I'm responsible. It's the total opposite of what so many ego-driven leaders do, right?
The next big idea is a game changer. First who, then what? The whole concept is that you got to get the right people on the bus. And just as importantly, get the wrong people off the bus, before you even figure out where you're going to drive the thing. They were completely obsessed with the who before they ever worried about the what.
All right, so once you have the right people, the next phase is all about building a disciplined way of thinking. And this isn't about some grand, complicated vision. Nope, it's about brutal honesty and profound simplicity.
Now, this is such a powerful idea. It's named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war for years. He said the ones who didn't make it were the optimists, the ones who thought, oh, we'll be out by Christmas. You have to have this dual mindset, an absolutely unwavering faith that you will succeed in the end, while at the exact same time confronting the harshest, most brutal facts of your current situation.
This leads right into the famous hedgehog concept. The question is, are you a fox or a hedgehog? The fox is cunning, knows a little bit about everything, and chases a bunch of different ideas at once. But the hedgehog? The hedgehog knows one big, simple thing and does it better than anyone else. Every single one of the great companies, they were all hedgehogs.
So how do you find your one big thing? Well, it's found at the intersection of these 3 circles. First, what can you truly, realistically be the best in the world at? Second, what is the single metric that best drives your economic engine, like profit per customer, for example? And third, what are you and your people deeply passionate about? Right there in the middle, where all 3 overlap, that's your hedgehog concept.
Okay, so you have the right people on the bus, you've developed this incredibly focused mindset. Now it's time for the next phase, translating all of that into consistent, focused action. And it all comes down to discipline.
Now hold on. When we hear the word discipline, we usually think of some rigid, top-down, bureaucratic nightmare. But Collins found the total opposite. Because you hired self-disciplined people in the first place, you don't need to manage them. You just manage the system, and you give those people freedom and responsibility to act like crazy within the boundaries of that hedgehog concept.
This is such a critical point, especially today. The good to great companies never, ever chase technology for technology's sake. They saw it for what it is, an accelerator. It's like a gas pedal. If you have a solid plan and you're pointed in the right direction, technology helps you get there faster. But if you're headed for a cliff, well, it just helps you get to the disaster faster.
So what happens when you combine all of this? When you have disciplined people, applying disciplined thought, and taking disciplined action, day after day, week after week, you get one of the most powerful forces in the universe.
You see, the breakthrough from good to great never ever happened in some single revolutionary moment. Instead, it was like pushing a giant heavy flywheel. That first push is agonizing. The second one is just as hard. But you keep pushing, consistently, in the same direction. And slowly, turn by turn, it starts to build momentum until, all of a sudden, it hits a breakthrough point and it's spinning on its own.
And this really shows the massive difference. The great companies were on the flywheel, making steady, consistent choices that built on each other. The other companies? They were stuck in what Collins calls the doom loop. They try a new program, get bad results, react with some other abrupt change, and just go around and around, never building any real momentum at all.
Ultimately, the biggest takeaway here is that greatness is not some magical event. It's not a miracle. It's the result of conscious choices and disciplined effort applied consistently over a long, long time. Every one of those small pushes on that flywheel eventually adds up to something truly spectacular.
And so that really leaves us with the one big question to take away from all this. In your work, in your company, maybe even in your own life, are your actions building that cumulative momentum? Are you pushing in one clear, consistent direction? Is your flywheel turning?